About what was the address?
I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed, and I think I did it.
At 1 a.m., a man called 911 and said 5 words that would follow him for the rest of his life. "I think I did it." He told the dispatcher he'd woken from a dream, confused, disoriented, unsure what was real. He said he didn't understand what had happened to his wife. But the moment officers walked into that bedroom, his story started falling apart. This is the case of Lauren Phelps and the husband whose confusion turned out to be a performance. Lauren Ashley Nicole Phelps was born and raised in Kentucky in a household shaped by faith. Her parents, Dale and Lori Hugelmeyer, built a Christian home where church wasn't a formality. It was central to how the family lived. That environment shaped Lauren early on. Those who knew her describe her the same way consistently. Friendly, warm, genuinely kind, without any performance behind it. Before she finished high school, the family relocated to North Carolina. Lauren settled in quickly, finding her place again through church involvement. She became deeply active at Hope Lutheran Church in Wake Forest, teaching Sunday school, helping run the youth group, and working vacation Bible school every year without fail. For Lauren, this wasn't an obligation. It was simply who she was. She was especially close with her father, Dale, and her older sister, Beth Agner. Family members describe a tight-knit unit, the kind that stayed connected and showed up for one another consistently. Professionally, Lauren worked as an auditor for Quintiles, a company that ran clinical trials for pharmaceutical firms. Outside of that, she stayed busy, helping at a daycare, selling scented candles, testing out small business ideas of her own. She wasn't someone who waited for opportunities. She built them. By 2016, at 28 years old, Lauren's life looked stable on every front. Her faith, her family, her career, and a genuine hope for love and partnership going forward. The man Lauren would marry presented himself as exactly the kind of person her upbringing had trained her to trust. Matthew James Phelps spoke openly about his faith. He had studied missions and evangelism at Clear Creek Baptist Bible College, working toward a future in pastoral ministry. On paper and in person, everything about him lined up with the values Lauren had built her life around. Lauren's sister, Beth Agner, later said the family welcomed Matthew without hesitation. He appeared devoted to Lauren, attentive, eager to make her happy. Nothing about how he carried himself raised concern. Lauren and Matthew married in November 2016. She was 28, he was 27. It was, by every outward account, an ordinary wedding. Friends and family gathered around a couple they believed in. At the time, Matthew was working for Dunlap Lawn Service. Nothing about his job, his background, or his presentation gave Lauren's family any reason to question the life she was building with him. The summer of 2017, the couple's first as husband and wife, was when the marriage began to unravel. Money problems surfaced early. Matthew was spending well beyond what the household earned. Court records later showed over $1,000 going toward gaming subscriptions and related charges alone. Lauren took on the role of managing the finances, working multiple jobs while trying to hold the household steady. Then came a discovery that shook her. About 2 months before her death, Lauren learned that Matthew had not been fully honest with her about his first marriage, including allegations that he had been abusive toward his previous wife. Her mother, Lori, later said Matthew was skilled at controlling how situations appeared to the people around him. Lauren didn't share the full weight of what she was carrying. She spoke to her family only in pieces, never revealing the complete picture. Her father, Dale, later said he sensed something was wrong, even without her saying it outright. He recalled one of the last times he saw her. She'd stopped by looking for a binder, seeming unusually on edge, not like herself at all. None of them yet knew how serious the situation had become.
By August 31st, 2017, Lauren had reached a decision. According to her sister Beth, that night brought a serious argument between Lauren and Matthew, reportedly after he had spent time with another woman. When he returned home, Lauren told him plainly, the marriage was over. Beth had spoken with Lauren just hours before that conversation. She knew her sister was upset, knew something significant was unfolding, but had no way of knowing it would be their final conversation. Beth later told ABC News that Lauren had said, in essence, that she was done, that she couldn't continue in the relationship any longer. In Beth's mind, looking back, that was the moment everything shifted. Beth would later say she believed Matthew made a decision that night, that Lauren leaving was not something he was willing to accept.
Before we get into what happened next, if you're the kind of viewer who wants to understand how a case like this actually gets solved, not just what happened on the surface, this channel covers cases exactly like it every week. Subscribe now so the next one lands in your feed. Just hours after that argument, in the early morning of September 1st, 2017, Matthew Phelps picked up the phone and called 911. What followed was a call that, once released publicly, left people unsettled, not because it sounded obviously guilty, but because of how carefully constructed the confusion seemed.
What happened?
I think I killed my wife.
What do you mean by that? What happened? Are you with your wife? Are you with the patient now?
Yeah, I can see her.
Okay. All right. How old is the patient? How old is your wife?
She's 29.
Okay. Is she awake at all right now? What makes you think she's dead? Is she awake?
She's not breathing.
Okay.
Oh my God. I don't know. I'm too scared to get too close to her.
Okay. Just stay on the phone with me, sir. I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
I'm so scared.
All right. I've already sent the paramedics to help you. Okay. I'm sending someone to assist you. Just please leave everything as you found it. Is there?
Matthew told the dispatcher he'd woken from a dream. He said there was blood on him. Said he wasn't sure what had happened to his wife. He gave the dispatcher the address. He said he was scared. He said he couldn't get close to her. Paramedics were sent immediately. Lauren was found in the bedroom and rushed to Wake Med, where she was later pronounced dead. But when officers arrived at the home on Patuxent Drive, something about the scene didn't match the account they just heard over the phone.
To investigators, the bedroom itself told a different story than the phone call had. It didn't look like something that had happened suddenly or without control. It looked arranged. And on Matthew, the physical evidence didn't add up either. For someone describing a scene that violent, there was far less blood on him than investigators expected. Prosecutors would later say he had made a deliberate effort to clean himself up before ever picking up the phone. An autopsy confirmed Lauren had died from injuries consistent with a violent physical attack, and that she had defensive marks on her hands, evidence she had fought back. Investigators also recovered a small amount of hair Lauren had been holding on to when she was found, enough to request a sample from Matthew himself. From there, the case against him began building in layers. Toxicology results showed a cold medication in his system, but experts were clear in court. The levels were nowhere near high enough to cause a blackout, hallucination, or any real loss of control. The explanation didn't hold up medically. Then, investigators found something more troubling. An Instagram account under the name Marty Radical, tied directly to Matthew, filled with images from the film American Psycho and photos of Matthew dressed as its central character, a man secretly living a double life as a killer. People close to Matthew told investigators he hadn't expressed disgust or fear when discussing the film. He'd expressed an unsettling fascination with it instead.
Phone records confirmed the argument from the night before. Lauren's messages showing she intended to end the marriage. And when detectives interviewed Matthew in the hours after Lauren's death, his emotional response stood out for what it lacked. Very little visible reaction, no real display of grief. To investigators, that absence said as much as anything he told them directly. Matthew Phelps was taken into custody and formally charged with first-degree murder. He was held without bail at the Wake County Jail. He entered a plea of not guilty, and for more than a year, that plea held. Throughout that time, his defense continued to point back to the cold medication explanation, the claim that he had taken too much, blacked out, and had no memory of what happened to Lauren. For her family, that year was its own form of suffering. Dale and Lori Hugelmeyer and Beth Agner buried Lauren, but the case dragged on without resolution. They chose to speak publicly, carefully and deliberately, not to relive what had happened, but to make sure people remembered who Lauren actually was, not just how she died. They wore buttons with her photo. They stood behind a banner that read Laurenslight. Her mother, Lori, later described the weight of that year in a single line. The murder of her child was something she struggled to process every single day. Some days uncertain she would get through it. Her father, Dale, carried a different kind of weight. Regret. He kept returning to that final visit, the one where Lauren seemed nervous and unlike herself, and to the questions he wished he had asked her. On October 5th, 2018, more than a year after Lauren's death, Matthew Phelps stood before Wake County Superior Court Judge Paul Ridgway, and the story he had held on to for over a year finally changed. He pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. The plea was part of an agreement that took the death penalty off the table, but in accepting it, Matthew confirmed what investigators had already proven long before he ever admitted it himself. The cold medicine account was false. There had been no blackout, no hallucination, no loss of control. What remained once that explanation collapsed was intent. In court, prosecutors Kristen Fetter and Howard Cummings laid out the evidence that had built the case against him, the financial strain, the toxicology results that never supported his story, and the digital trail investigators had uncovered. His defense attorney, Joe Cheshire, told the court Matthew had struggled with depression and had been exposed to violent films at a young age. The court did not find that history sufficient to change the outcome. More than 50 of Lauren's friends and supporters filled the courtroom that day, many wearing blue shirts reading Laurenslight. Nearly 3 hours of victim impact statements followed.
One by one, the people who loved Lauren stood to speak. Her mother, Lori, spoke about what it means to lose a child, not in a single moment, but in every ordinary day that follows. Her sister, Beth, spoke about how fully the family had welcomed Matthew and how that trust had been used against them. Her father, Dale, was asked directly if he could ever forgive Matthew Phelps. He answered without hesitation, no, never. When it was his turn, Matthew stood and addressed Lauren's family.
I am sorry that I took away Lauren's life, a life that was deeply connected to so many people. This was a senseless, mindless act, and I regret every step that led me in that direction. And even though I'll never be able to make up for the loss and the grief that I have caused all of you, I hope you will begin to see that I am doing everything I can from here.
He spoke about darkness, about the person he had become, about regret. He told the court he was sorry for taking Lauren's life, calling it a senseless act he could never undo. His words were emotional, but for most in that courtroom, they offered little comfort. Judge Paul Ridgway delivered the sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole. Matthew Phelps is currently incarcerated at Maury Correctional Institution in Hookerton, North Carolina.
In the months that followed, the Hugelmeyer family spoke with ABC News' Good Morning America, not to relive the case, but to talk about what they'd learned from it. They said the hardest part was that nothing about the beginning had looked unusual. Matthew had seemed respectful, grounded, trustworthy, someone they'd had no reason to question. Lauren Ashley Nicole Phelps was 29 years old. She lived with faith, responsibility, and genuine care for the people around her. Her family continues to carry that loss every day. But they chose to keep speaking about her. Not to relive the pain, but so others might notice the signs they didn't see in time. They call it Laurenslight. If this case affected you, subscribe for more cases covered with the same care and attention to detail every week. And if you want to understand more stories like this one, the ones where the danger hides in plain sight, there's more waiting for you on this channel right now.